The flat earth theory. I think this whole debate has been conjured up by our Disinfo friends trying to screw with folks' heads. The flat contradicts the pyramids model of precession of the equinoxes. There's also the problem of Canopus moving below the horizon at Giza and successive capitals moving south over time to keep it on the horizon as the equinoctial marker. There is also spherical Earth Kabbalistic geometry and spherical navigation, which still works for everyone, and how geosynchronous satellites stay in place without Newtonian physics. The Bedford level experiment is a series of observations carried out along a 6-mile length of the old Bedford River on the Bedford level, Norfolk, England, during the 19th and early 20th centuries. It was an attempt to determine the shape of the Earth. Early results seemed to prove the Earth to be flat, but later attempts to reproduce the observations firmly support that the Earth is a sphere. The observed target was seen at 6.5 miles, from which they claimed that the 5.5-mile limit was debunked. They forgot about atmospheric refraction, which is why we see the sun 5 minutes before it actually comes over the horizon, and why the Giza pyramids are 0.028 degrees south of 30 degrees north, so as to correct for refraction and record a true astronomical 30 degrees north. Plus, all the math at Giza is describing spherical geometry from the masters. This is a 3-dimensional world, where the number 3 is repeated endlessly throughout this illusory plane. Why? Because 3D causes everything to have a believability perspective when perceived by our 5 senses, or a pyramid triangular trajectory. This is why the triangle pyramid is the strongest symbol or shape associated with this mindset. How frequently does this triangular symbolism show up? Quite simply, everything 3D is actually suggesting a triangle formation in extremely subtle and subliminal fashion. This is called the vanishing point. The vanishing point of the 3D illusion. When looking at a row of buildings, for example, even if the buildings are all the same shape and size, the one at the end of the row will appear much smaller than the one closest to you. The vanishing point creates a triangular shaped trajectory. Let's look at string theory. Physicists Randall and Sundram created a model of brains in which the visible universe is a brain incorporated in a bigger universe, just like a piece of seaweed floats in the ocean. Ordinary matter is attached to this brain. The usual particles like electrons and protons can only exist on this brain. We humans will not be able to enter other dimensions because the particles that form our bodies, electrons, protons, neutrons, remain attached to this brain that constitutes our world. With his thought, though, man can freely move wherever he wants. This is because thought is not dense matter, it is energy. But then again, through this extremely restricting brain, this thought is encaged. The possibilities of the human brain are very limited. Strange computer code discovered concealed in superstring equations. Exactly what I said in holographic disclosure 2 about the codes, the information structure.
It's New York City. It's March 7th.
Well, partly it's taken to these very strange images that are behind your head right now. These are pictures of equations. I've been, for the last 15 years, trying to answer the kinds of questions that my colleagues have been raising. And what I've come to understand is that there are these incredible pictures that contain all the information of a set of equations that are related to string theory. And it's even more bizarre than that, because when you then try to understand these pictures, you find out that buried in them are computer codes just like the type that you find in a browser when you go surf the web.
You're saying your attempt to understand the fundamental operations of nature leads you to a set of equations that are indistinguishable from the equations that drive search engines and browsers on our computers.
That is correct. So
Wait, I have to just be silent for a minute here. So you're saying as you dig deeper, you find computer code writ in the fabric of the cosmos
that occur in string theory and in general in systems that we can say are supersymmetric. Some of those codes are showing on the screen behind you right now. They don't look like codes, but these pictures, which we call adinkras, are graphical representations of sets of equations that are based on codes. That in the description of our universe, that is a supersymmetrical universe, which we were going to test in the LHC. If you believe that description, I can show you the presence of these codes. That's my statement.
There is more than meets the eye with the codes. These codes hold all sort of information, even karma, which is built into the matrix. Everything is recorded in these codes. The 6,000-year-old health secrets will go into this, and the certain rules one has to follow in order to live life according to universal laws. Are we really made up of light? Biophotons show that we are made of light. A biophoton, or ultra-weak photon emission, UPE, is a kind of light particle that is emitted by all living things. Though it exists in the visible and ultraviolet spectrum, in order for us to see it, our eyes would have to be about 1,000 times more sensitive. While we can't see them with our eyes alone, technology has given us a glimpse, and what it's shown us may have a profound impact on us all. Biophotons have a much larger role to play when it comes to our physiology, and quite possibly our consciousness as well. Experiments are showing that biophotons, or UPEs, can be captured and stored inside of cells, and can even travel through our nervous system, suggesting that biophotons provides a way for cells to transfer energy and communicate information. Dark matter. Space is the construct that gives the illusion that there are separate objects. Scientists today have detected through quantum physics a finer form of matter encompassing the densely material universe. They call this matter dark matter. They call it dark because it is thinner, subtler, and thus not visible to your physical eyes. The dark matter is precisely the etheric plane, the ether template of all that exists in the visible universe and all that is constructed in order to later materialize. The Baphomet is secretly a presentation of this template. Eliphas Levi stated that ritual magic utilized the existence of what he called the astral light, defined as a natural and divine agent, at once corporeal and spiritual, a universal plastic mediator, a common receptacle for vibrations of movement and images of form, a fluid and a force which may be called, in a sense at least, the imagination of nature. It was this agent which reflected the magician's will, expressed during a ritual, and actualized it into existence. Most mediums, as well as prophets, sneaking a peek at this plane or dimension, can prophesy what is to come, because it happens in the etheric plane first. The tabernacle which is above, expressed down here below, or as above, so below. Everything that exists is present in the two parallel worlds at once. This is the multiverse, and the evidence are anomalies in background radiation. This could be the first hard evidence for other universes. Dipolar gravity implicates that everything which exists is present in the two parallel worlds at one time. The electron has a twin particle identical to it, but with an opposite electric charge. It would be like its mirror image, called an anti-electron or positron. Antiparticles, when created in the laboratory, live for a short time before they crash into normal particles and are annihilated. This means that when the electrons, protons and neutrons which make our world were created, a lot of their twins were also made. So, where exactly are they? And where did they go?
What seems to happen is that particles appear and disappear all the time. So where do they go when they're not here? Now, that question is tricky. I'm going to give you two answers. Answer number one, they go into an alternative universe where the people in that universe are asking the same question about those particles when they come into our universe. They say, where do they go?
Scientists are hard at work on this mystery at a place called CERN. CERN is a giant particle accelerator machine built to find the anti-world and its inhabitants. CERN's location is in Switzerland. A lawsuit that was filed in a U.S. federal court seeks the suspension of the experiment, which, according to the plaintiffs, may lead to the creation of a dark hole or some form of dark matter capable to swallow the entire planet or even the entire universe. CERN was also operating in secrecy at the time. It was reportedly closed by black ops scientists working on other secret experiments. The black op scientists have more knowledge disclosed to them than your everyday scientists, having also more grants and endless amounts of money. There are rumors that the fifth dimension of the parallel energy universes, which they shall call the new golden age of Krita or Satya Yuga, was found, and that starship arcs which will help them escape to a new beginning. The evacuation of the planet is a model which appears dynamically from ever more groups that communicate with non-visible entities. After 80 years of painstaking experimentation, scientists have directly observed a subatomic particle that is its own antiparticle. The breakthrough promises a leap forward in quantum computing and potentially shows the path to finding dark matter. The particles are called the Majorana fermions, after the Italian scientist who proposed their existence back in 1937. Now a team led by Professor Ali Yazdani of Princeton University and his team, which included colleagues from University of Texas, Austin, seem to have pinpointed the particle in an experiment that required months of careful adjustments, a 2-story tall microscope floating in an ultra-low vibration lab at the campus, and an environment of almost absolute cold. The experiment not only confirms that the world indeed works the way quantum physicists thought it did, but has potential for practical applications in quantum computing.